It actually lights up. The human brain is the most complex biological structure in the known universe. It is an electrical and chemical symphony operating through billions of neurons and trillions of synaptic connections. Up. These neurons communicate with one another using chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. These neurotransmitters, such as GBA, glutamate, dopamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine, regulate everything from thought and emotion to movement, memory, and motivation. Alcohol, once introduced into this system, acts as a pharmacological disruptor. It doesn't simply relax or help you unwind. That's an oversimplification rooted in culture, not biology. Alcohol is a psychoactive substance. Lights up. It alters the chemistry of your brain in ways that are often invisible in the short term, but profoundly detrimental over time. The first target alcohol affects is GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid. GABA is the brain's primary inhibitory neurotransmitter. It essentially puts the brakes on neural activity. When GABA levels rise, neural firing slows down. It actually lights up, which is why people often feel relaxed or sedated after consuming alcohol. But there's a catch. This rise in GABA isn't natural. Alcohol artificially increases GABA receptor activity, creating a sense of calm not earned through rest or relaxation, but forced through chemical manipulation. Alongside GABA, alcohol suppresses glutamate, the brain's primary excitatory neurotransmitter. Glutamate is essential for learning, memory formation, and synaptic plasticity. By suppressing glutamate activity, actually lights up, alcohol's your ability to form new memories, concentrate, or retain information. This is why blackouts occur. Glutamate transmission is impaired to such a degree that the hippocampus, the brain's memory center, cannot encode events into long-term storage. This dual action, boosting GABA and suppressing glutamate, creates a powerful sedative effect. It slows everything down, reflexes, processing speed, memory consolidation, and emotional regulation. The more you consume, the more disrupted your internal balance becomes. But here's where the real issue begins. The brain, recognizing this external interference, tries to restore equilibrium. It downregulates GABA receptors and upregulates glutamate receptors to compensate. This adjustment becomes problematic when the alcohol wears off. With less GABA activity and more glutamate activity than normal, you experience what is commonly known as a hangover. But from a neuroscientific standpoint, lights up. That hangover is actually a state of neurochemical withdrawal. The anxiety, the tremors, the irritability, the difficulty sleeping. These are not random symptoms. It actually lights up. They are the result of a brain to recalibrate its chemistry after being artificially thrown off course. Over time, with repeated alcohol use, these disruptions become more ingrained. The brain begins to operate in a state of chronic imbalance. Even when you're not drinking, your GABA and glutamate systems may remain dysregulated. This contributes to increased anxiety, difficulty focusing, low energy, and in more severe cases, dependency. The very systems that allow you to stay mentally sharp, emotionally resilient, and physically coordinated are slowly being rewired by alcohol. Not for your benefit, but against your best interests. Think about how that affects your day-to-day life. Your ability to stay disciplined, to show up with clarity, to learn a new skill, it actually lights up, to adapt in real time. All of it depends on optimal neurotransmission, and alcohol impairs that process. It actually lights up. It doesn't matter if you're a student trying to retain information, an athlete aiming to improve performance, or an entrepreneur working long hours. Every time you drink, you're inducing noise into the most finely tuned machine you have, your brain. The science is very clear on this point. Even moderate drinking, defined as 1 or 2 drinks per day, alters brain chemistry in ways that affect cognition, mood, and performance. And this isn't just temporary. Lights up. Neuroimaging studies have shown that regular alcohol use leads to measurable reductions in white and gray matter volume in critical regions of the brain. These are not just abstract findings. These are real, quantifiable changes that correlate with real life deficits in decision-making, emotional stability, and mental energy. It's not about fear, awareness. The more you understand how alcohol interacts with your brain's chemistry, the more empowered you become. You begin to realize that every choice you make, especially the substances you put into your body, either supports or sabotages your neurological potential. Actually lights up. At the core of every human transformation, whether it's learning a new skill, changing a habit, building emotional resilience, or becoming more disciplined, is the process of neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change itself. Up. It's not a metaphor or a slogan. It's a measurable biological fact. Your brain is a dynamic structure, constantly reorganizing its connections, actually lights up, strengthening some neural circuits while pruning others based on how you think, act, and live. But here's the truth that doesn't get emphasized enough. Up. Neuroplasticity is not guaranteed. It's not something you simply unlock by wanting to improve. It depends on your internal environment, your biology. Up. Your neurochemistry, your sleep, your focus, your movement, your nutrition, and critically, your exposure to substances like alcohol. Because alcohol lights up, even in seemingly moderate amounts, directly impairs the very mechanisms that allow your brain to rewire and evolve. To understand how alcohol compromises neuroplasticity, you first have to understand what plasticity requires. At a basic level, forming new neural pathways or strengthening existing involves repeated activation of circuits, the presence of brain-derived neurotrophic factor BDNF, and coordinated neurotransmission, especially involving glutamate, dopamine, and acetylcholine. These chemicals help lay down new synaptic connections, reinforce pathways associated with learning, and prune away those that are unused or inefficient. Alcohol interferes with each of these critical components. First, alcohol suppresses the activity of BDNF. BDNF is like fertilizer for the brain. It promotes the growth of new neurons and synapses, particularly in areas like the hippocampus memory formation and the prefrontal cortex decision-making and focus. When BNF levels drop, it actually lights up. Your capacity to form new memories, adapt to change, or learn new patterns of behavior is diminished. You can still try, but you're working against your own biology. It's like trying to build a house with wet wood and no nails. Second, alcohol blunts the activity of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter essential for attention, alertness, and plastic changes in the cortex. Actually lights up. This matters because neuroplasticity doesn't happen passively. It happens through focused effort. Acetylcholine helps the brain mark certain experiences or stimuli as important. It flags what you should pay attention to and what to discard. Lights up. If your acetylcholine levels are suppressed, your ability to focus and encode new information is impaired. The brain gets noisy. Signal becomes indistinguishable from static. Next is glutamate, which is central to learning and long-term potentiation. The strengthening of synaptic connections that underlies plasticity. Glutamate lights up. Alcohol inhibits glutamate receptor activity, especially ND8 receptors, which are crucial for memory and synaptic change. Without these signals, the brain can't establish new wiring patterns with any lasting strength. This is why alcohol not only impairs memory in the moment, but stunts the deeper process of adapting behavior over time. And then there's dopamine. Dopamine is often thought of as the pleasure molecule, but its real role is in motivation, reward prediction, and reinforcement learning. Dopamine signals which behaviors are worth repeating and which are not. Alcohol distorts dopamine signaling by flooding the system, causing an artificial high, but eventually blunting the brain's natural dopamine pathways. This hijacks your brain's ability to reinforce the behaviors that lead to growth. Because now the reward system is tied to the substance, not to your actions, and actually your progress, not to your wins in the real world. Over time, these changes compound. The brain becomes less responsive to natural rewards, less flexible in response to change, and less capable of adapting to new challenges. The circuits that used to be responsive to learning, motivation, it actually lights up. Or strategic thinking are now sluggish or unresponsive. Neuroplasticity is no longer a thriving engine, it's a stalled mechanism. You may feel stuck, lights up, not because you're lazy or undisciplined, but because the machinery needed to grow has been compromised at the biological level. And this isn't just about long-term heavy drinking. Research shows that even intermittent or moderate alcohol use, especially during periods of attempted learning or personal growth, can suppress the very neurochemical environment required for change. Sleep is not a passive state. It is a highly active, meticulously organized biological process that plays a foundational role in nearly every domain of physical and mental performance. It is during sleep that your body repairs itself, your brain consolidates memories, your immune system strengthens, and your emotional center recalibrates. High-quality sleep is the biological equivalent of recharging your brain's battery and updating its software. And yet, alcohol, despite its reputation as a relaxant or sleep aid, disrupts that system in ways that are measurable, predictable. It actually lights up, and profoundly damaging to your capacity to function at your highest level. Up. One of the most common misconceptions about alcohol is that it helps people fall asleep. It's true that alcohol can cause initial sedation, lights up. This occurs because alcohol enhances the activity of GABA, an inhibitory neurotransmitter that slows down neural activity and causes drowsiness. So yes, up. It may seem like you fall asleep faster after drinking, but that is only the onset of sleep. The deeper, more essential processes of sleep, the parts that determine how restorative it is, are severely compromised. Sleep is composed of several distinct stages. So up, light sleep, deep non-REM sleep, also known as slow wave sleep, and REM sleep, rapid eye movement, each serving critical biological functions. Up, alcohol disrupts the architecture of these stages in multiple ways. Most notably, it suppresses REM sleep, the phase of sleep where dreaming occurs, but more importantly, where emotional memory consolidation, neural recalibration, and creativity-enhancing processes take place. REM is where your brain files processes and organizes the experiences of the day so they become useful knowledge instead of random noise. When alcohol is in your system, your REM cycles are either delayed or fragmented. You might sleep for 7 or even 8 hours, but the structure of that sleep is broken. You wake up feeling foggy, emotionally irritable, or mentally unprepared. Not because you didn't sleep long enough, but because the quality of that sleep was shallow and disordered. This fragmentation leads to what's known as REM rebound, the body trying to compensate in the following nights by increasing REM intensity, often at the cost of stable sleep patterns. Alcohol also disrupts slow wave sleep, the deepest and most physically restorative phase of sleep. It's during this stage that your body repairs muscles, consolidates long-term memories, flushes out metabolic waste from the brain via the lymphatic system, and recalibrates your nervous system. Alcohol fragments this phase of sleep by increasing nighttime awakenings, micro-arousals, and causing more frequent transitions between light and deep sleep. This means your body's repair processes are constantly being interrupted, resulting in persistent fatigue, slower recovery from training, and weakened immune response. Another major impact of alcohol on sleep is related to core body temperature. High-quality sleep requires a drop in body temperature. Alcohol, however, lights up, disrupts thermoregulation. It causes blood vessels to dilate, increasing heat loss initially, but then triggers instability in the body's internal temperature regulation, which leads to mid-night wake-ups and difficulty maintaining restful sleep. Lights up. This subtle elevation in body temperature may not always cause full awakenings, but it degrades sleep depth. Lights up, leading to more time spent in non-restorative light sleep stages. In addition, alcohol's impact on breathing during sleep is significant. It relaxes the muscles in the upper airway. Lights up, increasing the risk of snoring and obstructive sleep apnea, even in individuals who don't normally experience those conditions. This further fragments sleep and reduces oxygen delivery to the brain, which compromises cognitive performance the next day and increases inflammation systemically. On a neurochemical level, alcohol blunts the natural rise and fall of neurotransmitters like adenosine, which plays a key role in sleep pressure, your brain's way of building up the need for sleep as the day progresses. Alcohol spikes adenosine rapidly, making you feel sleepy, but then causes it to crash prematurely. As a result, you may fall asleep fast, but wake up frequently during the second half of the night, often in a state of heightened stress or anxiety. This contributes to the experience of tired but wired, mentally exhausted, but unable to fall back into restful sleep. Over time, repeated alcohol use, especially before bed, leads to a state of sleep debt. This is not something you can simply catch up on over the weekend. It actually lights up. Chronic sleep fragmentation leads to diminished neuroplasticity, reduced attention span, elevated cortisol levels, and decreased ability to regulate emotions and make sound decisions. Your ability to learn to control impulses, to stay motivated, and even to experience joy is all filtered through the lens of your sleep quality. When alcohol is a recurring factor, that lens becomes distorted, dull, and narrow, cutting off access to your brain's higher capabilities. Dopamine is often misunderstood. Lights up. It's not simply pleasure molecule, as it's commonly described.